Yeah, I appreciate everybody being here today. Obviously, I think today we released our final non-conference schedule that'll end up being our full schedule for the year. So obviously, I think we now know what's in front of us. I know our community is excited about what's in front of us as well. So definitely happy to do that, and we'll take questions on that. We went for 8 weeks this summer as a team. A lot of individual development, a little bit of team, continuing team bonding, growing, trying to make sure we kind of build on where we were at the end of last year. And obviously, I think we have a group that is pretty well connected and looking forward to what's in front of us. So I'll take questions on anything you guys want to ask.
Hank, just I guess an overview of this non-conference part of the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
What were you trying to accomplish with it? Were you looking to build up that net as opposed to last year? Were you looking for rivalries? What was the motivation for some of these?
I think we wanted to challenge our group as well as we could, to be honest with you. Kind of the vibe last, April, May, when we, after all the coaching change and everything like that, when we started figuring out where we're at and what we wanted to do. This team wants another chance to play the best. So I guess we tried to create a schedule that would challenge us. I think there's some games on there for sure that, as you probably said, are against better net teams or something like that. They're definitely games that, that we know going in we'll have to play very, very well to win. At the same time, you have to play very well to win Conference USA. You have to play very well to win the Conference USA tournament. So I think for our group to make that, hopefully with that next step for us to do, together, we've got to try to get better through it all. And whether that's we take some bumps in the road and we learn from that, cool. If we prove to ourselves somewhat early on that we have a chance to be a real special team, then cool. At least we'll know that too. So I think the only way that you really reach your maximum potential is to challenge yourself for some of the best, and we tried to do that. I do think I do think there's a little bit of a regional flavor on there too. I don't know. It makes sense to me. I think that playing universities from that maybe there's a connection to that are somewhat local. I don't know. I think that makes sense. I think if we had to pick, I'd like Diddle to be as full as possible. So even if that involves a couple hundred visiting fans coming to a game sometimes, I think that makes sense. I think regional rivalries do give excitement. I think there's, from what I can tell here at Western, it's those regional games are something that always that attracts. So I think when we're trying to pick out specific teams to play, there's probably a little factor there. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of very high quality basketball within our area, and we wanted to challenge ourselves as good as we could.
Coach, it's the first time playing UK since 2021 for this program. What was getting that game together like an in-state rivalry, and is that going to look to be a yearly thing, or what's that going to be like for this program?
I have no idea if it'll be a yearly thing. It's a one-year deal right now. I don't know. I thought it was a great opportunity. They do an MTE, and we had an opportunity to be part of that. And obviously, along with playing at UK, we were able to get home games for Lipscomb and Jackson State, which I thought were very good games for us too. So I thought from an MTE perspective, I thought it was a smart, a fun and exciting. I thought it was the best thing for our program to do. Obviously, the game at Rupp will be cool. I don't know. You want to challenge yourself against the absolute best? Well, go play at Kentucky. So I think there's, we have some Kentucky kids on our team for sure. We have kids from, that grew up being aware that's kind of certainly a national name in college basketball. So I definitely thought, we were looking to challenge ourselves a couple times. And when that opportunity came available, I thought it was in the best interest of our players. I thought it was in the best interest of our, as coaches, as prepare us for the league, for our community. It seems to be a game that, unless I'm reading it wrong, it seems to be a game that everybody thinks is a good idea. And no doubt, it'll be a challenge. It'll be good for us at the end of November to see where we stand going into Thanksgiving. So it's something that you only learn who you are when you play games like that. So I have no idea if it'll be a long-term thing or not, but I think it'll be an exciting game for this team at this time, and we're looking forward to it.
A couple of these are return games. Obviously, you got the CUSA WAC Challenge in there, you got MTE. Now, how many of these are beyond this season? I'm guessing maybe Marshall, Evansville, or which ones are multi-year contracts?
Yeah, those two, I think the following year, we're going to go to Marshall. Evansville comes here. There's one more on there, too. But Murray, yeah, Murray continues.
So that was.
Yeah, there's 2 more years on the Murray. Yep, so next year we've got to go to Murray. They'll come back after that. Those 3, there's return games on.
Coach, for you, to have this amount of returning players is kind of unheard of in modern college basketball. For you to start this season off, how are you going to measure success? Because you've got a tough opening game, Wichita State right at home in that non-conference slate. For you early on, measuring that success for a team that has a lot of returners, what does that look like for you?
I mean, we're going to try to be the best basketball team we can be. So, I think I think we think that our best can compete. But that's why, I'll throw the big trip to Grand Canyon, which is conveniently right after that Wichita State game. We're going to know something about us after that. And I don't think that there's any I wouldn't tell you there's any, from my perspective, there's no full judgments to be made after those 2 games. I mean, I don't know. I'll tell you, what's the storyline? If we're 2-0, we're the best team in the world. If we're 0-2, the world's collapsing. And if we're 1-1, we do what we're supposed to do. Like, all right, that generalizes it. So I wouldn't say any of that's true. I would think that we want to, from now until November 4th, improve every single day. And when you play other teams that have similar expectations to what we do, man, I mean, if you play 10 times, both teams are going to win a chunk of those. And we probably have 2 games right off the start that they could go either way. So, we're going to learn from it all. I think you play those games early to gather yourself and then to make improvements, and we certainly have the month of November after those first 2 games to do that. So, I don't know. I think it's a good start to the season for this team. I think where we left off the floor, playing Marquette, I mean, those guys wanted to play them again the next day. So that's kind of the approach that we've had to the summer. It's kind of an eager and hungry mentality. And, I mean, we'll know right where we stand. So say whatever you want on the flight back from Arizona. We'll probably have a good idea of what we're doing is good enough, or if we've got to make improvements, or what areas we feel like are strong suits, and then really where we need to improve. And I think that's the point of challenging yourself at the very beginning, just like that.
How do those matchups come about, too? Is that strictly the league sets the matchups for that challenge, or do you guys have input as to who you want to play? Because it certainly seems like you got a more attractive 2 games than last year.
From what I'm aware, the leagues, both of them, decide that, I think. We knew we had those 2 matchups, March. At the end of March, I think we knew that those games were on there. So I don't know if it has something to do with where teams fall in the standings or what it is, but I would agree. I think those are 2 of the. Grand Canyon obviously won a game in the tournament last year, and I know they lost at Seattle. So I think Seattle's one of the better teams in the WAC as well. So I think the leagues somehow decide how to do it, but I don't know. I don't really look into it much more than that.
So no input from you guys?
I gave no input. I think I should have.
Coach, 8 weeks into the summer camp, do you kind of have a feel for that starting lineup, or is that something that's going to be fluid the first couple of games?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think we return a lot of guys that have both started here and started elsewhere. What I'm excited about is that I don't sense any kind of issues over or any attitudes over, man, I better, like, nobody's on this basketball team because, they demand that they start or else. And that's how you end up with continuity, is because when the desire to be part of something special is more than the desire just to make sure that you start and play every minute. So I don't know. There's obviously a couple guys that started a lot of games last year. There's a couple guys that have started it both here and other places in their past. I have no idea. If you look at my history as a head coach, the lineups are about as wild and inconsistent as anything you'll ever see. So I think I try to reward consistency in the lineup, because you want to get off to a consistent start. You don't want to put a kind of a home run or strikeout team out there the first couple minutes. But they're just a couple minutes in the game, and I think that stuff kind of organically will take care of itself, obviously. I guess if I think of it, there's 4 guys on the team that started our last game, and they've had a great summer. So, I mean, if those 4 guys have a slight, upper hand going into up the season, then that's probably somewhat fair and accurate to say. I think that at the same time, we got about 3 months till our first game, 2.5 months, and we're going to put the guys that deserve it on the floor on November 4th, both to start the game, in the middle of the game, and certainly at the end of the game to win the game.
You talk about a successful summer, and now school starts back today, and kind of getting the guys back into the routine of going back in classes and everything. What does that, the next couple of months, kind of look like for you all leading up until season?
We, for sure, I want our individual players to keep getting better. So in everything that we do, they spend a lot of time on their own working on their skills, ball handling, passing, shooting, I think the best way a team can get better is if the players get better. So we encourage that, and the guys have worked their tails off to improve. In the summer, we did obviously a lot of strength and conditioning stuff, get their bodies strong. We got to, after 2 weeks off, we got to get them back in shape a little bit. But we're going to start here probably, by September 1st, kind of installing some offense, installing some defense. We've been trying to, I've been trying to figure out, what we're going to do. Probably a common question. What are we going to do similar to last year, and what are we going to do a little bit different? And it all depends. I don't have a predetermined idea of that. We kind of need to see. I really want to keep building on where we were at last March, because we've added some pieces, but they add very seamlessly to what we're doing. So I really just want to continue to move in the right direction. But we need to experiment and see kind of what continues to work for us on offense, and what changes we have to make to be more efficient. We got to figure out how we're going to defensively guard ball screens or guard a down screen or different stuff like that. So those specific things in September we'll probably try to install and kind of figure out where we're at. And then, in October we'll start doing a lot more 5-on-5 stuff. We'll have 2 either scrimmages or exhibitions that I think are not quite ready to be announced yet, but that will be good for us in the middle of the month. That will challenge us, and then will give us about a 2-week break, I think, going into November 4th. So, September, try to put everything in and kind of build it up and figure out our identity, and then in October, try to test it and see where we're at, and make the changes that we need to make to build into that first game.
You mentioned part of it was kind of looking at scheduling regionally a little bit. Obviously, Eastern Kentucky's off the schedule this year. You had in Evansville. How did that game come about, that 2-year series? Is that one you guys sought out, or did they contact you? How'd you end up with that Purple Aces on the schedule?
I don't know. Coach Ragland and I know each other for a long time, and we're an hour and a half apart, or hour 40 minutes apart, and I had a kid from Indian Hills that played for them the last 2 years, so I'm familiar with their program. Obviously, we went up there and scrimmaged at their place last year in a preseason deal in October. So I don't know. It just makes a lot of sense, and I thought it would be good. Christian Landers from Evansville, and I thought it would be kind of a good homecoming game for him too. So I'd be lying if I told you that's not part of it. I think it's kind of Christian's been a very important part of Hilltopper basketball for the last 2+ years, and will continue to be. And so kind of when all of a sudden I started thinking about it, and I thought it would be a good road game. We needed kind of a road game right in there, and and Coach Ragland and I think both from the start thought that it would be beneficial to start a series with each other. So I just thought it made a lot of sense to do, and really couldn't think of a reason not to do it. I think playing teams from the Valley and similar-ish type leagues to ours is a positive.
Anything else? Cool. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, guys.